Welcome back to the $2 Film Club, and I hope you guys have been staying away from any ancient tombs and, Book of the Deads and shit like that, because there's about 50 of these movies to explain why that's not a really good idea. And I think the lesson to be learned from this particular movie that we're gonna be talking about is how not to start a cinematic universe, because today we are talking about the awful remake of The Mummy from Universal that came out in 2017. A little movie starring Tom Cruise and a small handful of other name actors. Obviously, it's very infamous for essentially kickstarting and killing off the dark universe in one go.
Well, honestly, I'd even talk about this film before that, even just because I didn't even realize how long ago this movie came out at
It's
this
been like
point.
9 years, dude.
9 years, yeah.
That's crazy. I
I
thought this
can't
came out
believe
in
it was.
2019.
That's what I was thinking. So the fact that it came out in 2017, because I had thought I was already done with high school when this movie came out, but I guess I was totally wrong. But 2017 is a long time ago, and I know people don't love the third one, but I adore those three original Mummy films, and I do find it ironic that we're coming back to talk about this Mummy film to kind of wrap back around into Lee Cronin's The Mummy, but there's also the Mummy 4 reboot that this
Oh
version of
yeah.
The Mummy was kind of created out of that's eventually coming out in 2028. So it's just a really weird cycle with
Yeah.
these Mummy movies.
Yeah. Obviously, we talked about the Mummy before, the original incarnation, at least cinematically wise. We talked about, what was it, 1932, I think was the first one. Let me double check that. Yes, the 1932 Universal horror picture, The Mummy. We did that during our Oktoberfest slate of films we were talking about. And yeah, it's safe to say that that one was not either of our favorites from the three movies we looked at. But yeah, and I think we've said it as well that we're not super excited about Lee Cronin's The Mummy. I think it was our last episode we mentioned it briefly, and like right after that, because the new trailer had just come out for that movie, and I watched it like literally right after we got off the podcast, and I have to tell you, bruh, I am so uninterested in this movie now. Like, it sounded cool before I started seeing stuff from it, but now I don't know. It's not leaving me with a good taste in my mouth from what I'm seeing so far.
Well, I guess for me, it just feels wildly underwhelming because it feels like it's just making. I don't know how to say this because it didn't make the same mistakes exactly as this 2017 Mummy with Tom Cruise, but it feels like from a narrative structure, it's not like it has something to do with sarcophaguses, like pyramids, and all the mummy typical stuff. But I don't get the point of having a mummy movie if not having a third of it take place in some desert and having them exploring catacombs and pyramids. Because at least with that original one, that's what the coolest part of it was. And I think that's what they need to lean into more
Yeah,
because this Tom Cruise mummy film is not an adventure film. And these films, I
it
feel like
takes
it needs to
place.
be.
It takes place predominantly in London.
Yeah, which is
That's
so
so lame.
weird. And it takes place in the subway tunnels of London, too.
Yeah.
It just feels like so randomly thrown together because they really wanted to focus so much on making this a Marvel Cinematic Universe. Because it was funny, you texted me that this movie's just boring, and I'm like, you know what? The first third of it is interesting enough, but once they start doing all of the world building for the Dark Universe, it automatically just kind of shits itself. And I don't remember the movie starting off with Dr. Jackal either. So right off the gate, I'm like, oh wow,
You
I
mean Dr.
really don't.
Jekyll?
Yeah, Dr. Jekyll. Sorry, I forgot about that. Always saying it wrong. But then I
That's an
think it
inside
goes.
joke.
Yeah, no one will get it. But I think the understanding of the monsters is kind of the inherent problem of the Mummy movie, and that's not something I think I feel with Lee Cronin's. at the end of the day. I do like the creepy body horror that this version of the Mummy, the 2017, just does a terrible job at. It's just a typical late 2010s action film. And I gotta say, I do not remember the film being so poorly lit and like not very well shot. But maybe that was like not. I'm not talking about visual effects either. I'm just talking about the way the movie was shot and the overall lighting it from a DP standpoint.
I didn't particularly see anything wrong with the lighting per se. I think a
The
lot of
ending
it
was just
just.
really dark.
Oh
I
yeah, yeah.
struggled to see a lot of it. And
I
like
just
I don't have the sun directly in my face and I have shades up and I felt like it was just like not even just the ending, but any time like in the beginning when like the mummy apothecants kind of turn up, like they're just these weird mushy black figures standing there and you never get like a really good definitive look at an actual mummy in this movie because I wouldn't even consider what's her name? Sophia
Aminet.
Boutella's Aminet as a real mummy. But well, I'll get into that like later in because I have like issues with the whole setup of this movie and the way they kind of turn this into a mummy film because it doesn't really feel like a mummy film.
I think the start and the ending of it feel like a mummy movie. It's just kind of everything in between that is just what is this? Because like when you're looking at the movie, like going back to what you were saying about like the visual stuff and like from a technical standpoint, like I didn't see anything like inherently wrong with the technical stuff. It just all looked kind of like generic, like just the way that everything's framed and the way that the action is shot and choreographed. I don't know it like it's. I know a lot of people make fun of this for being like the this whole situation with Tom Cruise kind of like taking over the production. My thing is that I don't see
Forgot
enough of
about
him
that.
in it for it to have mattered because it doesn't feel like a high octane Tom Cruise movie either. So
Well, it struggles with like that genre balance that I think
yeah,
they
100%.
it really feels like they were channeling the Mission Impossible energy with Tom Cruise's characters Nick Morton in this between like his banter with Jake Johnson like it really conflicts me because I didn't mind it, but the film just stops it almost instantly once Jake turns into like I don't even know what I'd call him, but like the
Possessed, I
bitch
guess.
the bitch of Aminet.
Ominet's bitch.
Aminet's bitch because like it was just so unserious because I kind of liked the banter that they had and I really enjoyed that moment that after they had the airstrike called in on them at the beginning that
Mm,
they had that back and forth with
yeah.
the army general like that was the stuff that I found interesting but the second anything starts happening with this movie interestingly their dynamic dies down and then it kind of shifts to like this really weird Annabelle Wallace Tom Cruise relationship that start
Oh yeah, the
I don't
forced.
understand their relationship at all because it starts off with Tom Cruise being a sleazebag and I get he saved her life but man does she just make a 180 after that moment is just like oh, I'm going to do anything to help you like
Yeah, I agree with everything that you're saying. Like I think I said this when I texted you too. Like there's individual scenes in this movie are good, but when you like take them as the sum of the whole, it's where it really falls apart because none of them like connect very well. Like you'll have a really fun action scene at the beginning of the movie that kind of like that energy just really falters off really quickly. And the same is said with yeah him and his I forgot the name, Vale. Yeah, him and Vale. And even like the banter between like him and Jen or Jenny or whatever her name is, all of that stuff kind of like goes out the window as well as soon as like the plot kicks off. It just feels from the very start of the movie like you keep getting a sense like, oh, this is what the movie's going to be, and then it pulls like a massive 180, and you're just like, okay, I don't know what's happening or where this is going or why it's important.
yeah, because on one hand, I wouldn't even argue it's trying to be a mummy film. It's just trying to be an action film. And then on the other hand, they're trying to build this monster cinematic universe. Which, by the way, when this came out, they had already casted everyone in that cinematic universe.
Yeah,
What was it? Johnny Depp as Dracula or something?
the Invisible Man,
The Invisible Man. Javier Bardem was the Wolfman. Oh my God, why am I blanking on who is the Bride of Frankenstein?
Angelina Jolie.
Angelina Jolie. And then to kind of cap it all off, you got Tom Cruise playing an unknown character in all of this big Universal IP that by the end of this film, they kind of set him up as like the tent pole of the universe, which is so strange. Just so strange.
Yeah, I don't know. To me, it always felt like a weird move to make this like the start of the franchise. Like, I get that the Mummy is like well known and it's probably one of their most profitable films in like the slate of Universal monsters. But I don't know. It just really felt like an odd choice because you're starting with the Mummy that predominantly I want to say most people are familiar with the Stephen Sommers movies
Yeah.
with Brendan Fraser and all that.
Well,
And
bro, do you see the
those
advertisement for the new Mummy?
yeah.
All they keep saying is this is not the one with fucking Brendan Fraser, and that's
Yeah.
all they've been posting for 2 weeks. Like, dude, what are we doing?
It to me that it's just an odd move because those are so like recognizable in terms of like the style and the tone that I think moving in this direction put a lot of people off because it just didn't feel like that. And on top of the fact that a majority of this is, or majority of like the Dark Universe stuff was, in my eyes, going to be more like horror focused. It feels odd to start with this action movie. I wouldn't call it an adventure movie, like you said, because they don't do any
Dude,
adventuring.
they don't.
And like literally them going to find this tomb or whatever is the setup is that they're grave robbers or whatever, or looters. He says they're looters, and they have to like infiltrate this fucking Iraqi village or whatever. And I'm just like, this is not interesting. Like, what is this? I don't want this like army jargon or whatever. I don't care for any of that. Like, get to the Mummy stuff. And just the fact that this movie opens with some vague quote from, I think it says it's like an Egyptian death prayer or something like that. And then the first image that we see is like crusaders being buried. It feels so silly when you say it out loud. I'm just like, why is this in my Mummy movie? Like, what do crusaders have to do with this?
Yeah, they're just in the middle of Iraq, and I just don't. I question a lot of the choices in terms of why this story, why this version of a Mummy, why so much influence on the Dark Universe, and then have characters that don't fit into any of this whatsoever. And I even say that talking about like Jekyll and Hyde in this movie, because while I like Russell Crowe, it's such a bad Dr. Hyde. You know what I mean? I don't know how else to explain that. Like, I feel like I was underwhelmed with how much they were kind of building up this big rageful monster that he has to contain himself with these fucking 4 needle vats. Like, I'm like, dude, that's crazy. And it leads to a really forced moment to him not, well, did he just like not remember to take his medicine? Or I can't remember what happened in the moment, but then all he did was transform and like his fingers got bigger and his skin got a little purple.
Don't forget the accent. He's changed his accent.
Oh yeah, he got like a slightly more British accent. That too. And he's like, they don't let me out. Like, what, bro? Does this happen often? Because it doesn't seem like it does. And it takes such a sidestep away from the main narrative of this film. It's just super jarring.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's very clear that there's 3 things at work here There's Alex Kurtzman's vision for the Mummy, which is, it's okay, I guess. But then you have Tom Cruise, who like wants it to be like, his movie. He wants it to be like Mission Impossible, like the next big franchise for
The
him.
dark Mission
And
Impossible
yeah,
universe, bro.
and then you've got Universal that wants it to essentially market their proposed Dark Universe franchise, which is it just because that's essentially what you get. Like the opening and the ending are the Mummy stuff that Alex Kurtzman wants to do, and then the action stuff like sprinkled throughout is like all the big set pieces. That's all Tom Cruise, and then the stuff like smack dab in the middle is just the Dark Universe promotions. It just makes for a jarring experience because you're constantly moving from one thing to the other that have nothing to do with each other. And I like the Dark Universe stuff in this. It's just like if you wanted to make that movie, then just make that movie. Like I want to see that movie. I don't want you to just be like, oh, and here on the side, look, don't forget about the Dark Universe coming soon to a theater near you. I'm just like, okay, this isn't as interesting as it should be.
Yeah, you bring up a good point. I think the thing that I got out of this rewatch the most is I didn't realize how many actually solid ideas there were, like fundamentally throughout the film.
Yeah, there's good
And
concepts here.
like what you were saying on the Dark Universe is a lot of what they have, it's not bad. It's what they do with it in the film and where they put it that makes it bad. Because I really like the way they kind of make this underground secret society that catches all these universal monsters. Like that is inherently in nature such a cool concept that I think a woman like Annabelle Wallace is traveling around the world discovering all these really cool ancient monsters that she brings in to Dr. Jekyll to do tests or whatever it is on. Like I thought, like I really did not like the scene where they're streaming all the mercury into Aminet to like preserve her and then dissect her essentially. And there's like this whole like back and forth with Jekyll and Jenny about why they should let Aminet live, but I don't think the whole concept of this underground facility is ever truly fleshed out outside of, dude, it makes me laugh every time I've seen this movie is when Tom Cruise first walks in and they do the oblivious looks at all the Universal monsters, like the Easter eggs, like, oh man, that's Dracula's skull with the big teeth. Oh man, that's a Wolfman's hand, guys. You know, from the original movie. Like, you're definitely not going to see this later in the future. And like they could have done that type of stuff in such a better and less shoehorned way that it just makes all of that and the mummy stuff going on in like the middle of this movie just kind of going like fighting each other.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say. Like, obviously, at this point, everyone knows. Like, I think that was the biggest thing that people didn't like about this movie is how upfront it was about being like the dark universe and whatnot. Like, that was the big thing about this movie. And obviously, nobody wants to see a teaser, like a feature length teaser for a franchise. They want
Especially
to
when you
see
never get.
a movie that like stands on its own. And yeah, I mean, like we were saying before, I think there's a lot of stuff in here, like conceptually that I liked. It's just like in execution, it falls flat. Like a lot of the horror stuff is not scary to me, and it doesn't help that the CGI isn't the great.
Well, is it even considered horror?
I mean, they're trying.
Are they? Like no, that's a like
I
that's
mean,
me
there's
genuinely
like
asking.
horror adjacent elements in here that just don't really land very well because you can tell they're like, not going full throttle because they don't want it to be too scary or whatever, or maybe they're just not good at it, like designing those kind of scenes.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like the plot of the movie is like so over convoluted for no reason. Like the backstory for Aminet, I'm just kind of like, this isn't as interesting as it was in like the when did the first movie come out? The first
99.
99 or whatever, like that one. Like I don't know. It's just none of it was ever particularly that interesting, and we kind of rushed through it all as well. It's crazy. This movie is like 2 hours long, but like nothing really happens. By the time 45 minutes had passed in the movie, like we still hadn't really gotten past the kickstart of the plot. And I was kind of just wondering, like, what was all of the point of us wasting our time with all that stuff? You know what I mean?
Well, it's all to service the dark universe at the end of the day. And I think literally the opening of this movie is a perfect example of it. To kind of go into what you were talking about with how Amulet's backstory, they don't really go into it. There's nothing very intriguing about it. Like, I struggled, like, I understand what she did to like her stepmom and like her baby brother and all that. Like, I understand it because I've seen these type of films before, and like we understand political power and structures in our world. So those aren't inherently hard to understand when you just see them, but it's literally just done with a over dialogue
Oh, the narration.
Of Jekyll fucking just explaining her story as it just is shown to us, but it's just like the show notes version of it almost, where it's like she felt like she was going to be the queen, then her brother was born, and then she killed him, and there's nothing really in between that to help build character for her, or why like anything that happens with her at the end when like she is locked up and she's talking to Tom Cruise, or when her and Tom are fighting, none of it feels like it has any weight whatsoever, because they do just such a horrible job at trying to make Aminet's past, because they don't go into it at all, work with what she's trying to do with Tom Cruise and why she's using him. Because
Yeah.
even after this second viewing, I am still like honestly kind of confused at what her like plan is at the end of the day. I don't fully understand it. Like, does she want to make Tom Cruise into what she was making that guy that she got caught trying to kill in the past? Like, being right, like her side piece almost. Like, I really don't understand.
Yeah, they don't really do a good job of explaining kind of like what's going on. Like the only thing that they kind of over explain is like kind of what characters are feeling, because they don't want to commit 2 times to like showing us that. And I just think that's where a lot of like the relationships fall flat, and kind of understanding why we're supposed to care about what's going on. And because I think the idea of Aminet is cool or somewhat interesting. It's just that they don't spend enough time
Exploring her.
exploring, like, why does she care about this so much? Like, why was it so important that, and but all it does is she has that one line where she explains to the audience like, oh, I just wanted my father's love, and I'm like, am I supposed to believe that, or
Well,
is she
yeah, they
like,
should have shown that. Like,
yeah,
have just one scene of her and her father interacting, and
other
not. I'm
other
not talking.
other than him just looking with lustful eyes at her stepmom,
That's what I
like,
was gonna say. Something with dialogue, and not just where something where Jekyll's talking over, and you just see some
yeah.
eye contact, because it just goes down to like it feels everything is so bare minimum in terms of the story and the structure that it's just very annoying.
Yeah.
Like
Uh,
I can't tell you how annoying like it makes me feel watching the third act to this movie, because it just turns up the notch into like this third act big AAA big budget movie
I mean, it tries to.
needs. It tries to, like, she turns into this giant sandstorm that chases them through London, and it goes on for like 10 seconds, then that's over, and then they go into the fucking the
Subway.
tube. No, it's not Subway, dude. The
Oh,
tube.
yeah, the tube.
They have to go into the tube. And everyone just gets slaughtered. Just a bunch of pointless characters get slaughtered just so they can have a cool battle. I guess you can call it a fight, but then he takes like this dagger
I
that
wouldn't
just
call that a fight.
conveniently.
She slaps him
That's what I'm
around.
saying. Then it conveniently, like, there's a dagger that conveniently is there that they need to find to destroy her, because that's the only thing that can happen. And then I got kind of confused with his curse too, because this is where the dark universe, like tentpole stuff of it, like really like concerns me is like at the end, like dude, I can't tell you how much I was laughing when him and Jake Johnson were riding off in the distance
Oh,
with this fucking like evil storm cloud chasing them. Cause bro, I say evil because I shit you not, I heard like that the storm cloud or the sandstorm making like groaning noises, and it was just so weird to end this movie on that note.
I don't know. I feel like most of the sound effects budget went towards moaning in this movie.
Okay, I think it's a good time to bring up the airplane scene because I do
That's
think
not
the
even what I was
first.
talking about.
No, oh, dude, because I think the airplane scene just from the trailer where they accidentally edited out all of the sound effects and only just kept in his screaming dialogue, and it's just like ah, and it just literally sounds like that with nothing over it as it like cuts.
Yeah, there
Just
was
did
no
the most.
music,
Dude,
no.
it did the biggest disservice. I think that was also the biggest disservice to this movie. Is
Oh
it
yeah,
probably had one of the worst trailers I'd ever seen in human history. Like that, I am shocked that people wrote off on letting that go. It had like some unfinished VFX. I'm pretty sure, like obviously, it had the missing SFX stuff. It had totally different shots and scenes in the trailers. I mean, like you were saying, the production for this movie was a disaster. It lost fucking $60 to $95 million, which is crazy, especially when you want to kickstart a whole universe.
yeah.
But between losing that much money and what I gotta look up, we haven't done this before, but what is the Rotten Tomatoes score for this movie?
Like 15 or something.
Like, yeah, I'm looking it up right now because this is the one time I'm genuinely
Yeah, it's
curious.
15%.
Okay, because between both of those, what was it? I think it was after opening weekend of this movie, they already had axed it. They had not given it any time, way or manner. They ended it. They kaputzed it. Whatever way, whatever term you want to use, that motherfucker died on the scene. Like straight up homicide, bro. I've never seen something end start and end so quickly, and I think I that's why I do enjoy coming back to this movie every once in a while because I do it feels like a relic of something that could have been, especially now as we start separating ourselves from this movie in particular. But I think as a society we're moving away from these like bigger universes. Like you still got like Marvel and DC, but you don't see as many trying to make like um an Iron
They're
Man movie or a Mummy
yeah.
movie, a Wolfman
Not
movie.
even
Like
like just making like an Avengers movie.
exactly.
Because that's really all they care about. They just want an Avengers movie.
But that's so fucking. That's the thing though. Is fuck the Dark Universe. Just make that movie. You know what I
Well, see,
mean?
that's what I'm saying. Like, so much of this movie is concerned with like the greater dark universe, and I'm like, that stuff's cool. Just make a movie about that, because clearly you're not interested in making a mummy movie. Like, obviously that's not why we're here.
I feel like even when I was younger, watching like those really old Abbott and Costello, like the Wolfman meets the Frankenstein, or like
Oh yeah,
these
yeah.
big iconic Universal monsters like meeting each other's, they were always kind of the highlights of the Universal era with the monsters, simply because it was cool seeing them interact. And it feels so weird that they've never come back to this idea. I'm talking about Universal because it feels like such a money grab at that point that I don't know, dude. I think a Mummy and a Wolf meets the Wolfman movie, or like a Wolfman meets a Frankenstein movie, or like an Invisible, like one of those would just kill. I think it would genuinely kill.
No, I agree. That's why I like the Van Helsing movie. Like, that's not a good movie either,
But
but
it's
it's
fun
it's
because it's so
fun.
many different Universal, all these different monsters. Like, dude, it makes no sense
I know,
that
like,
fucking
and this is it's the same thing too. That's why like Godzilla versus Kong makes a shit ton of money. It's like they just want to see them fight. Like,
exactly,
nobody cares
bro.
about this other shit.
Exactly.
Like, stop pretending like I don't know. Just everything about the development and production of this shit is just so awful. Like, I like the foundation, like the idea of it. It's just when they tried to do it, everything fell apart because no one could get on the same page about what they wanted, and it's literally the perfect example of too many cooks in the kitchen.
Well, I was when I was waiting for you before we started this. I decided to look at like who wrote like was in the screenplay. Dude, I did not realize Christopher McQuarrie wrote part of this, and I do remember when they were doing rewrites, they brought him in because of
No,
Mission
Tom Cruise
Impossible.
brought him in.
Yeah, yeah, sorry. Tom Cruise brought him in because of Mission Impossible. So I'm very curious to know what that original version of the script was, if this is what we got.
My understanding is that more focus was on Sofia Boutella's Aminet, and not as
That's what
much.
they needed.
Yeah, not as much focus on Tom Cruise's character. It's funny because I'm literally looking at the poster right now on Wikipedia, and it's like he is like literally front and center, and for a movie called The Mummy, I'm just like, okay. And honestly, I think it would have been a better idea if they had cast him as the Mummy.
Well, that's the thing. They tried to do that with an. Yet again, I thought it was an interesting idea to have him come back alive as like the protagonist and be the one under control. Like, interesting idea. Absolutely fumbled it.
Yeah. I
Like,
think
dude,
yeah, I think there's like interesting dramatic choices in here. It just I don't care about like why it's happening, and so I'm kind of just like meh, whatever. Like, cool idea, don't really care.
yeah. This is just the most what could have been movie of all time, and it's just it's crazy to me. Just because you can just see all of the behind the scenes front and center in this movie, I feel. I don't know. I guess I know I mentioned this to you before, but is it just too hard to ask for a mummy film where like they're stuck in a pyramid or some type of tomb that they have to try and escape with the mummy like trying to hunt them down, and they're trying to like navigate all these like rooms with traps in them and shit, and they actually run into like rooms with other mummies of ones that like the main mummy kept entombed down there as like punishment. Like, there's so many cool ideas to do with the mummy. I just feel like Hollywood, after those first two original ones from 1999 and 2003, I feel like I might be getting that wrong with the Brendan Fraser films. It just feels like they've just take the really bare basic way out, and that's also kind of wrapping it back into Lee Cronin's film. That's how I kind of feel about that, because all it does is just feel like a gory version of the mummy without any of the cool mummy stuff to it.
Yeah, I don't know. At this point, I'm just I think we just have to accept that the only good Mummy we're ever gonna get is the 1999
Dude, that's
Brendan
fine with
Fraser
me.
movie.
And
And
you
they
know
need to stop
what?
making them. Is what I'm saying. They need to stop making more. Like, honestly, I'm at this point. I'm not even convinced that the Mummy 4 that we're gonna get is even gonna be
It's not
good.
gonna be good, bro. I'm sorry.
Like,
I'm even
it's
not
cool that
convinced.
they finally decided to do that, but I'm not holding out hope that we're ever gonna get
2028,
a
bro.
movie as good as the. It feels weird to me to say the original, because I didn't like the 1932 movie either, and that's why I think it was a fluke that the 1999 version was as good as it was.
Well, that's the thing. They knew exactly what type of film it needed to be. An
Yeah.
action adventure with some comedy in it. All these other films are trying to be so many different things at once. And I think that's the biggest thing. I mean, have you ever seen Tomb of the Dragon? What King? What, right?
Oh,
Is
the
that the third
Emperor or
one?
whatever.
Yeah, Dragon Emperor.
I have, yeah. That was the
It's
first one
like
I ever
not a
saw.
good movie, but I find it entertaining for what it is.
Yeah.
Because they're going globetrotting, trying to find some fucking ancient like dragon lord or some shit, bro. Like,
They're
it's
trying to
sick.
find Jet Li.
Jet Li, oh my god, bro! I forgot Jet Li was the main guy in that movie. I'm pretty sure he took a break after that movie from acting.
He made that movie. He was like, yeah, I don't think I want to make movies anymore.
Bro, the fucking Americans always ruin it. I do want to ask you a question though before we get into like our final scores. Who do you think the villain of like the Avengers of the Dark Universe movie would have been?
Shit. I know I read this somewhere before.
Oh wait, you've actually seen it? I
I'm
didn't know
trying
that.
to
I didn't know
remember.
that. I didn't know that it was like actually out there because
Well,
now
because
I'm actually curious.
I've seen like the stuff about like the canceled movies and like what they were gonna be about or whatever.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me see if I can find it. There's too much shit up on my screen. I don't fucking care. Get out of my way. Let us see. Is it this one? Maybe that's not it. I don't know. I swear I saw somewhere like what the proposed film was going to be about. Like the team up movie, but I can't really find it now.
Damn you, bro, because now I'm really curious. Maybe one day we'll find it.
I think it's a cool concept. They need they need better organization and better
Yeah.
planning, and they need to not get so bogged down by like the marketing side of it of like we need to like make this, the teaser movie for the Dark Universe or whatever. Like they need to make they either need to make the standalone movies their own thing and lead into like a team up or whatever with like hints of a connection and not like be plastered all over the fucking place, or they need to just forego it all and just make them fucking team up and whatnot or whatever. I don't care which it is. Just do one of them, please. Stop doing this stupid ass shit. We didn't even talk about fucking Dracula Untold either.
Yeah, I figured, I don't know if, will we ever talk about that one day? Because I've only ever seen it
I'd
once in
like
my life.
to. I think that
Okay.
movie is way better, or it's at least more
I
enjoyable
I
of a
agree. I
movie.
think it's a far superior film, but
Yeah.
I still found it a little underwhelming as
No,
like a
it's not. It's
Dracula
not a
film.
good movie by any means. It's just I personally found it more entertaining. I watch it every Halloween because
Do you really,
I
bro?
do.
What? That's the one film you watch every fucking Halloween,
Not no,
asshole?
it's not the only movie I watch every Halloween, but it's one of the movie. It's a guilty pleasure of mine, is what I'm trying to
That's
say.
fair.
Like there are definitely better Dracula movies. I haven't seen a lot of them, but I don't know. Luke Evans as Dracula is cool. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, exactly. It was cool. Oh yeah, he was also supposed to return, I'm pretty sure, for the Dark Universe.
I mean, the
As
reason I brought up
Dracula.
Dracula Untold is because like that movie went through a lot of reshoots to try and fit in with the Dark Universe because they had already like pretty much finished production by the time Universal decided they wanted to do the Dark Universe,
Well, if I
and so they
remember
kind of had to
correctly,
release that one still.
didn't they like make the ending for Untold like where he's just in modern day and
Yeah,
like
it's
someone from the
it's
same agency in this film like comes to him or something?
no, the ending is that the
I thought someone went to him in
some well
modern day.
so the epilogue does take place in modern day, and Dracula meets the like reincarnation or whatever of his dead wife, and then the vampire that turned Dracula into a vampire, played by Charles Dance, he makes an appearance and he says all dramatically as he's walking away, "Let the games begin" or whatever.
Bro, Charles Dance between this and fucking Godzilla, this guy, he's a part of all these weird universes, bro. Um, but yeah, let's get into final wrap ups and then talk about what we're watching next week. Leo, do you want to go first or me?
You can go first.
All right, I gave Mummy 2017 1.5 stars out of 5. I feel like that might be a little generous, but we'll see. I wrote, I don't think you can make a more average Universal monster film. I wasn't even trying to be funny either, bro. That's literally just, I feel like the feeling coming out of this movie, is just like, wow, dude, they really just did nothing with so much potential here. And that's why like I kind of really hate it.
I gave it a 2 out of 5 stars. I didn't write a review, but yeah, I don't know. I just found this overall to be a really bland experience. Just the way that it was made, and yeah, just the way it was handled for pretty much all of it. I was like, this is not it. I don't want to watch this anymore.
Yeah. All right, Liam, what are we watching next week?
Okay, next week why are we watching this movie? Hold on a second.
What movie is it?
We're supposed to watch Walk the Line, but I don't remember why. Is James Mangold coming out with a different movie?
I feel like James May. Is he?
Hold on, I'm looking. Upcoming projects. Where the fuck? Why are we watching this? Oh, I know. Sorry, I remember why. Sorry, no, I remember why. It's a
Oh, Jackson, Michael
yeah,
Jackson. That's
The
it.
Michael
I was
Jackson
saying,
movie's
I
coming out.
forgot he was doing that.
So
Sorry, it just clicked in my head.
yeah, so it's not related via like the filmmaker. It's just because it's a biopic about an artist. So I think I suggested it because I remember I've seen it once and I thought it was a good movie. So
I've never
yeah,
seen it, so I'm curious.
I
This
think
is
it's
going
a
to be
pretty
a
good
first
movie.
watch for me.
Yeah, I think Joaquin Phoenix puts in a really good performance.
I didn't realize Reese Witherspoon was in it.
Yeah, she plays what's her name? The June something or something June. Trying to remember her name. June Carter Cash. That's who she plays.
It's quite the name.
Yeah, but yeah. If anyone saw A Complete Unknown, same director. Just about a different musical artist. Although Johnny Cash does appear in that movie, played by Boyd Holbrook.
All right, without that said, thank you guys so much for watching us today and listening. If you guys want to let us know what you thought about The Mummy 2017 down below, please do, because I feel like this is a interesting conversation starter. But without that said, see you guys on the next one. Peace!